So, the black Fischer. So, Fischer on the black side. Let's see what openings he preferred to play with black. Already from his childhood he liked very much to play against e4 to play the Sicilian Najdorf variation, and against d4 to play the King's Indian defense. He had a very subtle feeling for these openings, obviously because he played them when he was very young and through his entire chess career. Later, in the match against Spassky, he also played after e4. At some moment he started to play the Alekhine defense, which shows his very good preparation for this match and very subtle psychological approach. But the match against Spassky is a different story because there were many things involved, and from the opening point of view, I can say that in this match Fischer changed a lot the openings and the variations, and his idea was to put pressure on Spassky so that Spassky has to remember the opening lines, as many as possible opening lines, and this was very unpleasant for Spassky, who it was well known that he didn't really have a very good memory comparing with his other qualities. But generally speaking, Fischer played mainly Sicilian Najdorf against d4. Against d4 he also included later when he became more universal. He played also the Grunfeld or the Nimzo Indian. Sometimes when he felt that his opponents were very well prepared against King's Indian, he would play the Nimzo Indian. In Nimzo Indian he won some very important and very nice games against, for instance, against Spassky in this match, or before he also won against Portish, a very nice game where he showed a very good understanding of not a trivial position. He also played the Benoni. His main contribution on the black side was in the Najdorf Sicilian. So after e4, c5. Let's move directly to some examples. So the game against Unziker, the same Olympiad, 1962, d4 take, knight c6, knight c3, a6, bishop e2, e5. In this type of positions, Fischer also not only developed the concrete opening theory, but also he changed some vision about some positions which were considered dangerous, strategically dangerous for black, and this is such a game. So okay, we are playing these moves which were popular in that time. White has control over square d5, and White's idea is here to exchange this knight and to remain with control over square d5. Black has a strategically bad bishop, and White has this domination on square d5. But Fischer changed the general thinking that such positions are strategically bad for black. He showed that as long as the knight is far away from square d5, such positions are perfectly playable with black. He has sufficient counterplay here, and in this game he proved it very clearly. He played rook a4. It's important here the rook is not only active on the a file but also on the fourth rank, and he showed that White might have in such positions problems with pawn e4. Fischer played this position more than once, so let's see what happened in this game. Queen a6. We see that black has a very simple play. He wants to play rook a8 to put pressure on the a file, and it is much more difficult to find something for White. Tal against Fischer played here rook ad1. In the same year, I think, rook ad1 he played, rook c8, so black has also some such ideas to play rook c4, but his main idea is to play b4. Rook c8, so now White tries somehow to relocate his knight, his badly placed knight, on c1. But after b4, black gets sufficient counterplay. And this position is already probably slightly better for black. Again, white's only trump here is this control over square d5, but he cannot do anything with this. So after b4, white played knight d3, b takes c3, b takes c3, and white had to black had to take here. He played rook a5 in the game against Tal, but he had to take here on c3, and black is better because also white has these problems. Black can later also put the rooks on the second rank. White's idea was here to play knight takes c5, but after d takes c5, okay, queen d8 is simply bishop f8. Tal's idea was to take here on e5, but black is doing okay after bishop b4. And after rook d8, white doesn't have time to take on c3 because the rook on f1 is hanging. So Unziker played h3, which doesn't change much. Black still has very easy play. Rook e8, rook e1, h6, king h2, and now bishop g5. Now also the bishop becomes active. White has already problems in this position, and white is better. After g3, which is a mistake, queen a7, black shows that white's position can also very quickly collapse. And we see that white quickly lost in this. Okay, two, rook takes c3, and yes, the pawn is pinned because of queen f2 mate. And if he takes first on a2, then black can play rook f3, and there is mate in all variations. Or he can then take the rook, and of course black is completely winning. So this was a very important game for general understanding of such positions in Knight of Sicilian. But Fischer also had played a very important role in some very concrete theoretical variations, and this is first of all the variation of poisoned pawn when black plays queen b6, queen takes b2. So in this game against Kavalek, so after the main moves d4, take, a6, bishop g5, and queen b6. It is even said that Fischer was the one who forced white's players here to play queen b3, knight b3, and to not to sacrifice the pawn on b2. This is also the move which Spassky played against Fischer, after which Fischer also changed with black, with Alechin's defense. So queen a3, f5. This was a main variation those days, and it was long analyzed because it was the evaluation of this variation was very important for evaluation of knight in general. Knight takes e6 and e5. This was a critical position. Fischer himself played also this position with the white pieces, and here black tried also to play knight d5. This was a move, for instance, played by Geller against Fischer. But Fischer analyzed very well the move d takes e5, take on f6, knight e4. This position was considered very dangerous for black until the present game, where black here used to play castle short, but this was always black was under dangerous attack here, and Fischer introduced this move h5, which was played in this game, and the consequent analysis then showed that black can hold such a position. It is of course very sharp, but Fischer's contribution was very big here, and he shows that black can successfully defend after h5. White played c4, f5, rook b3. It's a complicated theoretical variation, and this game ended in a draw by perpetual check. But it was a triumph of black's strategy, he showed that black's position is very playable in this variation. In my opinion, Fischer's main merit in the opening theory with the black pieces was exactly in the Knight of Sicilian. He played also quite a lot of interesting games in King's Indian, for instance, very nice win against Olofsson, or a very good game, a nice win against Larsen in their match from 1971 from Denver. But against d4 he also played Benoni, and here is our next example. Against Spassky he showed this idea with knight of h5, which became quite popular afterwards. Not necessarily in this position, but the idea in general after queen c2. These days I think a4 is considered the best move. After queen c2 suddenly Fischer played knight h5. According to Spassky, he even looked at this move, but he just forgot the variations, because very quickly black equalized here after knight e5. Take if white takes here on e5, then black takes with the bishop here on e5, and black is doing okay. So the idea is that the queen comes to h4, which happened in the game. Bishop d2 here is actually stronger. f3, and it is not so simple to play with black this position. But in the game after bishop d2, knight g4, take on g4, take on g4, this position is already at least equal for black, and Fischer won this. We see this is the third game of the match. A crucial game, because the score was 2-0 for Spassky. I said this is a different story, this match. And in our next example, against Ullmann, it's a nice also idea here, c5, a trap actually in Benoni, bishop f4. In this position, white played h3 in this game. A move which is interesting is also played from time to time in our days, although Fischer already then showed that h3 suddenly simply loses a pawn, or white gets a very bad position after knight takes e4. The point is that after h takes g4, black takes on c3, and he is just a pawn up without any compensation, because this is obviously just bad for white. Takes on e2 and on f4. So in the game after knight takes e4, Ullmann took on e4, but now the bishop on f4 is hanging. After bishop g5, which was played in the game, black has queen e8. Always with small tactical tricks which work out for black. And in this game, black achieved a big advantage after queen e8. Bishop d3 now. First take on f3, and then the rook goes to b4. And if rook e1, then bishop e5. So black is ready now to complete the development, and he's a pawn up and has advantage, and Fischer won this game against Ullmann. Talking about first, if we finish with a Benoni, many players were influenced by this approach by Fischer. So Fischer and Tal were two players who developed many ideas in Benoni, and such ideas also based on very concrete tactical variations. Even Kasparov admitted that he was very much influenced by Fischer's play, not only in the Najdorf, which is obviously so. Kasparov's beloved Najdorf variation is because of Fischer's influence, but also in some other variations with black. Kasparov was influenced by Fischer very much, and Benoni's idea was one of such influences. As I said in a previous video, Fischer also contributed indirectly in a way to the theory of hedgehog type of position by playing with white in the next example against Ulf Andersson. Fischer is white here, and he showed here, we see that this is pawn structure, pawns on e3, d3, a3 and b3, so when black has such pawns on e6, d6 and b6, a6, so this is a hedgehog pawn structure. And here Fischer showed this plan, king h1 followed by rook g1 and g4. So this idea, then white doubles the rooks on the g file. This idea impressed Ulf Andersson that much that he started to play himself with black pieces hedgehog very successfully. So in this game white very quickly achieved a winning position. Knight h4, and the knight comes to f5. This is such indirect way of opening the f file. It was very nice here. And already after knight f5, white has a very strong attack. Actually, Fischer played also on the black side this plan with king h8. It was not exactly the hedgehog with a pawn on b6. That will be a hedgehog type of position, but still the plan was similar. So in Olympiad in Havana, we see that he plays the same idea, doubled the rooks on the g file. Here white played knight h6, missing that, okay, positional piece sacrifice, but after knight e4 he resigned because the position is now just a piece down. So we see that this plan, king h8, rook g8 in the hedgehog type of position, and g5 is now it's considered so Fischer's plan, and it's an important strategical plan in this type of positions. So I think so these were in our brief overview about Fischer's openings. These were his main contributions to the chess opening theory. Generally, I would repeat that it was very important that he showed a very new approach to the preparation, to analysis, and a very deep preparation, very deep analysis of all concrete variations brought the entire opening theory to a new level. Thank you.